Kumlana Black Gemara. We are up to today of Kuf Tes. Kuf Tes. Quickly remind you what the Mishnah said. The Mishnah said that a person swears false about it, that he doesn't have your cotton, then he's moida. The agent come and catch you that you lied, then he pays the principal. If he admits that he swore false, he has to pay a penalty of also a chaimish, which is a quarter, and a carbon. And you don't pay double here if he was caught out by Adim because he claimed that it was lost. But if he claimed that it was stolen and he was caught out by Adim and turned out to be that he himself was the ganef, he pays double. If he was Maida, he only pays If he was Maida, he pays the penalties. Then we had a case where a guy stole from his own father, and he swore to his father false that he never stole it, and then his father died. So he now because no, that's the next case in Mishnah. But his father died, which is the same idea. The next case, his father died. Afterwards, he was murdered that he lied. Now he has to pay a chaimish and he has to do all that and the keren. But he since he has a mitzvah now, because he made a shvur, has a mitzvah of hashava, he has to return it. He cannot say, well, I yashin it, therefore it's as if I returned it. You have to return it. So he has to give it to his other yashim, to his brothers, siblings, or his uncle. He has no brothers. He cannot take his share of it because the pasuk says, now that you swore false, you got to return it. What do you happen if he's desperate for the money? What he does is he borrows the amount from the amount. Let's say the total amount is 100 plus a penalty of 25%. So then he borrows that from a lender, and what do you call it? And then the lender goes to the other Yarshim to collect because the assets of the and he then gives he borrows money from the lender. He then pays out to them with property. He pays out he gives his brothers. He pays back the gzela and the penalty and all that. But there's a lien on it. Because there's a lien on it from the lender then goes to the brothers and takes back at least the share of this brother, the one who had to pay it. So let's say a third is three brothers, they third. The other 2/3 are collected directly from him, but they get back 1/3. And because this is indirect, it's not like so he did a hashava, he gave it to the brothers, and now he's collecting as a yiddish separately, event afterwards. And if he's allowed to do it, and then a similar thing is that the father asked, no, he do the same trick. But he's no longer getting direct from his father, he's getting it from his siblings. Okay, says the Gemara. Rabbi Yisha said, what happens if he has no siblings? What happens if he has no siblings? So who does he give back the gazelle and all that? His father died. He's then I feel his doctor. He can even give back to his doctor and be Yaitza Hashava provided a papa. So he has to say, announce this is the gazelle of my father. Now the question is, Amai Nimchel Nafshe. Why can't he just be Michael himself since he's the heir? He's the Yiddish and be Michael. And the problem is in our Mishnah, we just learned before, not this Mishnah here, but a Mishnah a couple of days ago, we learned that if the Nigzel, whether you have to schlep all the way to Madre, we said if the Nigzel is Michael, the principal, and all now you own is the penalty, you don't have to schlep from Madre for a penalty. That means that the Nigzel has the right to be Michael, the Keren, and is treated as if you get it back. So why can't he be the Nigzel, he Michael himself? So the Gemara, now we learned previously, and if the nigzel was Michael, you pardon you for the principle. It was Michael, you don't have to schlep to Madai. But it seems, but it seems that what the local business helps in all cases. It seems that what do you call that he could be Michael. Alma Bamichilu, he could be Michael. It's actually an argument. The previous Mishnah is a gluli that says the nigzel. Right now we're learning pshat. There's no difference whether the nigzel is Michael or you, the ganef, is Michael yourself if you now became the owner. Exactly. So the previous Mishnah says that the nigzel can be Michael follows a gluli, and this Mishnah says that you cannot be Michael yourself. You have to go and give it the whole ruse. Follow Rabbi Akiva that says that Mechila is not good enough. No, the question is, how do we view Mechila? Is Mechila like you gave it to him and he gave it back to you, so therefore it's considered good hashava? Or is Mechila that he said, don't worry about it, you never gave it, so you won't get to hashava? And Rabbi Akiva says you won't get to hashava. That's what we understand right now. The Tanya, what's this? The Tanya, the Brayse, be mainly goyo. If it says a passing, the person doesn't have anybody. Let's say he stole from a ger and he has no relatives. If the person has no goyo, so what do you do then? To return the ashram to him. Now, who are we talking about? Yes. We're talking about the principal of Gzela. He's no longer around. Who doesn't have any relatives, some distant relatives, at least you stole from again. How did you go again? You stole from again. Then Nishbala, you swore to him. Vishama, it falls, so you have to now pay. But Vishama, you heard Shemes again. You heard the ger died. So you decide, okay, what am I going to do with it? So you're going to go and bring it to Yerushalayim. You're going to give it to the Kohen, because the pasuk over there says that the Osham Hamushav LaHashem La Kohen. Okay, you can't give it to the ger, you give it to the Kohen. And we're talking about the principle. Upagabai again, turned out to be the ger, so they came back alive, and you see him walking down the street. There's a coffee mill. The ger said, you know what? That money that you're about to give me, I'm lending it back to you. So right now the Gemara thinks it's tantamount to Mechila. In other words, it's as if you gave it to me and I'm lending it back to you. It's my money now. The maze. And then the ger died. So this time he died for real. And he didn't have a chance to give it back. You, the Gazan, can keep what you have. You don't have to give it to anybody. To the Kohanim or to anyone. What was it from here? That the Mechila, when he gave it to you as a loan, he was merciful you. And that's tantamount that you returned. You already did your tshuva for the Gzela. So it's over.
What is Michael? Is talking about the Karen or the Chaimish or the
Chaimish, the penalty. There's no kefir about Gezel Ger. He swore. What happened was he swore. So it's a Karen and a Chaimish. He's Michael the Karen. Come on, the Karen. And Rabbi Kiva says, "Ain't like takana GH. Doesn't help. The fact that he's Michael not good enough, you have to go and pay it out. So we see clearly that's a machlekes. So the previous mission, Rabbi Yisrael, this mission says you cannot be Michael. Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Yisrael, right now we say no difference who you Michael to. Mechila doesn't work. Sorry, Mechila always works. Why? Because as if you paid it out, then you got it back. Is Matimachu Michael. Well, Rabbi Akiva, Loishon Lachein, Loishon Lashon makes no difference if the Nigzel is Michael yourself. In all cases, you cannot be Michael because you never gave it. You do Hashava Lematimachu. Says the Gemara. So why does the case over here say that the Malva, that the gay turn around and say, you know what, I'm lending you back the money? What's the relevance of that? Well, basically, who I didn't feel Loizak from Milva. Even the truth of the matter is, even if he didn't give you as a loan, he's Michael you. You're enough. But why doesn't mention at all that he gave it as a loan? What's the relevance of that? Like the Acha Koich Rabbi Kiva, teach you how far Rabbi Kiva goes. Even though the guy gave it back to you as a loan, it sounds like he took it and gave it back to you. So the Chayda, it should be a good hashava. Physically, you have to take the Agzela and take it out of your Rishus. Masking what Avsheish has a question. You're telling me you're equating whether the Nigzel is Meichel, whether yourself and Meichel is the same thing. So why in the previous mission does it say the Nigzel can be Meichel and basically make a bigger Chiddush? A bigger Chiddush is that you are now became the owner and you're Meichel yourself. The Nafshe, let's have if basically holds that Mechila always works, let him go further and say not just if the Nigzel is Meichel you on the Keren. Even if you, the Ganef, are Meichel yourself, now you became the rightful owner. And you're Meichel yourself, the Hashava from the Gzela you made previously. The Choshkin Lachedim, and surely it would help in the case of Achedim. So what do you have to talk about the case in the previous mission about the Nigzel being Meichel? All we need to know is that you can Meichel himself. And that's it. And that's enough. In other words, that's basically tell us this case right here, this very Mishnah here about the father, he stole from the father, and now he became the heir. Let him basically paskin, and he can keep the money, doesn't have to give it to the siblings because he's Meichel, at least his share of it. He doesn't have to give his share away because he's Meichel. It's a bigger Chiddush. Why tell us in the previous case that the Nigzel tells a bigger Chiddush, and in this case, he can be Meichel himself. Which is much bigger Chiddush. And for sure, then the Nigzel can be the Nigzel himself. If he wants to be Meichel, surely he can be Meichel. Yeah. Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Kiva as well. According to Rabbi Kiva, he should say, instead of talking about a case in our Mishnah, which is in Bimach himself, Rabbi Kiva should have said in the previous Mishnah, he should have been the author of the previous Mishnah and say that the Nigzel cannot be Meichel you. Even the Nigzel cannot be Meichel you. You need to physically return it to him, and then he can give it right back to you. If you tell me that he cannot be Meichel, the Nigzel cannot be Meichel you, surely you cannot be Meichel yourself. I disagree with you. I hold that but whatever I hold regarding the Nigzel, I don't necessarily have to hold regarding yourself. I can hold the Nigzel could be meichel you, but you cannot be meichel yourself. So he's like this. I hold within a Beis Haglili, both Mishnah Beis Haglili, both of them Beis Haglili. The first Mishnah he says they keep meichel from the nigzel. This Mishnah where he says you cannot be meichel, you got to give the whole gzeil after your father died, and then you're meichel. You got to give the whole thing to your siblings. Is Beis Haglili, but you cannot be meichel yourself because you're the one who stole it. You already have a chiyuv. You cannot be meichel yourself. In the previous mission, the nigzel can be meichel. But himself he can't. So why talk in the up here in the Braise the Grace Gillen says if you went to the shrine, you found the guy was alive, and he turned around and he lent you the money, that's good enough. Because it's as if he was meichel you. The fact that he said, I am lending you the money, it's tantamount to him saying, okay, I'm meichel what you owe me, here, take the money. I'm taking the money. It's tantamount, even though it's not really giving him the money, he's lending him the money. So it's not a full mechila, but because he said this, say, give it to me. Yeah, I probably yeah. Because it's like so it's like therefore it's like he was meichelim. The nigel meichelim, the meichelim. So the Gemara, Rabbi says the principle is the same, but I'll say for Rabbi Kiva. I'll say forget. When does Rabbi Kiva say you cannot be meichel yourself? But the nigel could be. So it's Rabbi Kiva. How about Rabbi Kiva? And I'd rather learn the Mishnah like Rabbi Kiva. He Rabbi Kiva like Matzi Machal Lenafshe himself. But others can be meichel. How come the case of Milder Rabbi Kiva holds that you still have to pay out? It's like his mechila because he wasn't really meichel. He said, I'm lending you the money. So he wasn't really meichel him. Meklal Rabbi Yesi Haglili, so Rabbi Haglili holds I feel the nafshi the man not so what do you say now Rabbi Haglili? So Rabbi Yesi Haglili now is saying that you can always be meichel. The nigzli meichel, you can meichel yourself. So there's an obvious question. The pasuk says if there's no goyel, you got to give it to the kohen. When does that apply? If there's no goyel, I'm holding on the money. If the guy dies with no relatives, I become the new heir. I'm the owner, and I could be meichel myself. So why am I schlepping to give to the kohen? When is that case? McCloud Rabbi Yisrael saw, but I feel the nafshe nami matzimachel. It can always be meichel. Ela gezel aged the kamalachman. This sin of the kohen, the Torah says give it to the kohen. When does that apply? I'm a rabbi, I'm talking about. He stole from the gate, the news below, you stole from the gate, and you swore to him. But Mesa gate, the gate died. But how do you made it? Right? You made it after he died. Yeah, after the gate died. La'acha misan, after he died. Sorry, the be'idna the oida. When do we say that you get to keep it? You made it b'shas the gate was still alive. So you had now a chiyuv to pay the gay. You have now a chiyuv hashava to the gay, and then the gay died. I become the heir. So we say you can be meichel yourself. Here the chiyuv did not start till after the gay died. If the gay died already, and you have a chiyuv, who you have a chiyuv to right now? To the Eibishter. And the Eibishter, I'm giving it to the kohen. That's when you have to give it to the kohen. If you were made after the gay died, the beidna the oida when you were made kana Hashem, when you were made the Eibishter was kohen. Then the son of the kohen, Eibishter said, I'm giving a handing of the kohen. So it depends when you were made. If made while the guy was alive, then you owed it to the guy. You become the heir. No, you owe it to the guy, and you become the heir, and then you're meichel. Exactly. You have a debt to the guy. Exactly. Yeah. So the Gemara, boy, Ravina, Gazla Gielis. Now, what about a woman? If he stole, what's the story if he stole it from a woman? Is it in the same or is it totally different? So the Gemara. Sometimes when the Torah says ish, we say ish is a generic term, and sometimes say ish is specific. So what we thought that maybe here the pasuk says that ish, the pasuk says the im ainly ish goyel. It's an unnecessary word. It means ish goyel. Why does the Torah say ish? As maybe to negate a woman is different. No reason, just as they is us. Ish, a man and not a woman. Or maybe it's common for the pasuk to use uish ish as a generic term. Amalei Rav Adam Ravina. Interesting. How often do you have of Adam? It's the only time we saw him. Rav Adam. We don't have a Rav Moshe. We don't have a. Yeah, interesting. We have a media called. We have a Ram again. That was a shame. Yeah, we don't have a Ram. Yitzchak, we have plenty. Nachman by Yitzchak. Yeah, Yitzchak. So, Rav Aaron, interesting to hear about. Okay. Omalei Rav Aaron is a good trivia question. Where Rav Aaron said to Ravina, Toshma, I mean, time to learn, each a woman as well. The pasuk continues, it says, if the man doesn't have a goyel to return the principal to, and then it says, the Osham, Hamushav, that principle that has to be returned, you give it to Hashem. It says twice. Mushav. Hamushav, the Kanshnaim, twice. Two different people. One to the man, one to the woman. Why say Isha also? It's redundant. It should have said, why say Ish? By an adult, man or woman, you have to check to see whether he has any relatives. Cotton, but a cotton, you don't have to bother searching. If he's a gay or a cotton, but you do want to ain't like goyim. It's impossible for him to have goyim. If his relatives or no relatives, and he's not married, and has no kids. I mean, if it's his father, so like this, we're having more unique. If he became a gay together with his father, he's a gay mahatrader. If he didn't, if the bezin, then he has to machlekes the rabbanon. Then I should. But yeah, but with it, when we said, look at Tases here as well. Look at Tases here. The cotton is guy im obi mighty. We're talking about the last 4 lines of Tases cotton. Talking about a cotton who's guy here with his father. The kuli alma madbilin oiser. And so machlek is the rabbanon that I said Tases exclusive in olive. Avo below of it on his own, but Bezin does it. Plukti he pay the kamlik so imad bilim oiser does Bezin. Machlek is if it is it a schus for the kid or not a schus for the kid, and he can be meicher when he reaches when he's over by mitzvah. Says the Gemara. Taser, by the way, says that cotton doesn't own anything. So what are we talking about here? So we said when we said cotton doesn't own anything, it's only if he finds a mitzvah. I can show him we shouldn't take it. But if you gave him das acheres machne, it is kaina. That's the problem. He can't give it back. And machlek that's mahatreda with the rabbanon, but Taser seems to be learning that it's called mahatreda. Aber Kedah Magna the Koni Middenaisa, Taser says it clearly. The Koni Mahatreda. Back to the Gemara. So I learned. Lahatza says what happened? You give it to Hashem to the Kohen. Kona Hashem, maybe the Kohen, even so, the Kohen is a Kohen. Sheba Isa Mishma. Which Kohen? The Kohen of that Mishma. Now, whether that Mishma means, because Mishma is by the week, and then within each week you have a base on. But he means literally Mishma for the whole, the wish of the whole week gets to divide it. Or he means that person, whatever day he came in, whoever's running that day, that's the one who gets it. Maybe you can give it to any, the Gazlan can go and give it to any kohen he chooses. He has a cousin, a kohen, who is not on duty this week, but another week. Maybe he can give it to any kohen he wants. It says in the pasuk, this is an addition. You have to bring a carbon as well, and you can't invite your cousin who's not on duty to come and make your carbon. It has to be the carbon in that week. The kohen the kohen in that week. So we learned. What if the guys themselves are kohen? Now we know that a kohen has the right to bring his own carbon, and he gets to keep everything, even if it's not a tour of duty that week. Doesn't matter. He gets to keep everything. So what if the Gazan was a kohen, and now he brings it to the base of if he has to pay out? Can he just keep it to himself? He shouldn't say, "Oh, you'll be kohenim," since I have to distribute it on kohenim. But he tells the audience, "I'm already a kohen. I have it. It should remain with me." The dinu, it makes sense. If someone else is the guy, exactly. You know the famous Kalachayim. Your keshem. Oh yeah, Madach. What do you call it? In my pocket, you cannot put your hand, but I can put my hands in your pocket. That you could. Yeah, because if you could put your hand in your pocket, I can. Yeah, that's exactly the cheshbon. Since if somebody else stole, let's say Israel stole, yeah, and I'll be one of them. And I get a part of it. I'm ready to have it. Now, if you follow the principle of Daya, Love, and Adin, Lias, Kanad, all it is, you get a share in it. Doesn't mean you can get to keep the whole thing. Because if somebody else brings it, how much do you get to keep? Only a share. Exactly. And here we're trying to get to keep the whole thing. So therefore, we bring another Kalachayim. Abnasan Noim also says, the Lashon Achadif Kalachayim. Let's say if a kohen brings a carbon to the base of Mikdash, no other kohen has a share in it because the kohen we learn by mincha, whatever he buys carbon, he brings it, it's all his, and he can do whatever. Even if it's not duty, he can do whatever he wants. And the flesh is his, and the hide is his, everything's his. Because it has a positive ish es kedashav lo yiyeh. If a person brings it, it's all his. So therefore, Madav Davish ain't lecheli, but he has no share in it. Achi Yechan is b'reshusay, unless that kohen decided to give it to him. If that kohen just did not give it to him, nothing. Unless he tried to give it to him, yet once he gave it to you, then nobody can take it back from you. Because it says the ish ashgit kohen lo yeh. Once he gave it to you. The Tesis has is and yochletzim. So other Tesis says here in the second chapter, we're talking about truma and meisus, that you have no right to it until he gives it to you. And yet, but once he gives it, you can't take it back. Can't be an Indian giver. Something that you already have a share in it. What do you call it? Where's that? If a Yisrael gazzled and he came to that, he comes that week, every kohen in that mishpan has a share in it even before he got it. Because it has to share amongst everybody. So once he had it, no, but he's the guy himself, he has it. You cannot take it back from him, he has the whole thing. Okay, but let's krum the other one. No. Something that you have no chelik in it. Why should but Kain brings a carbon to the base of Mikdash. That Kain brings his own carbon. No one has, nor you, nor anybody else. So when he gave it to you, nobody else can take it back from you because no one else has a right to it anyway. No one can take it back from you. But when it comes to Gzela, everyone has a right to it. Just like you have a right to it, everyone else has a right to it. So therefore, if you had taken more than your fair share, they all have a right to say, hey, you're taking our share. What has to happen is the kohen, even though he's a kohen, he has to give it to the kohenim. He has to distribute it only because of shvur. Only because of shvur. If it wouldn't have been for the shvur, where does it say you have to return it? Only by shvur. That's why this holding about shvur, and that's why we say you bring a carbon with it and so on. If it wouldn't be a shvur, normal case exile, it's a whole different story. You give it to the children, you give it whatever. Yeah. It's only because here the Torah clearly says in the pasuk that you have to give it back to him. Yeah, exactly. So it's a shvur that makes it so difficult. It says, it doesn't say in pasuk ishes kedosh of loy. It says in pasuk that a kohen can keep his kachim. That if a kohen, for example, brings a carbon, he gets to keep everything himself. So the this carbon here, that he's a gazan, he has to bring a lashim, is completely his. And since the carbon is l'chayda the os, everything else that comes with the carbon should be his. Because it says the pasuk milvad ela kippurim. So whoever ends up owning the ela kippurim should be also the one who owns this. So the Gemara Chachma is talking about a kohen tameh. We're talking about the kohen couldn't bring the carbon. In this pasuk, in this case, we're talking about a guy. The kohen was a gazan and he was tameh, so he doesn't get to keep the carbon. Since he doesn't bring the carbon, therefore the exile is not his either. He has to distribute amongst all the other kohenim. So what he became tameh, then dovish lechel. But why you tell him what's the whole kavachayim? Something he has a share in it. Mi islay lechel. If he doesn't have a share in the carbon, nor does he have a share in what do you call it? Nor does he have a share in the exile part. So they tie together. We learn out koyin for the achuzah. That what the Tanya we learned. It says in pasuk achuzah. It says in pasuk that you give it to you have a field, it comes back and you come what do you call it? Comes back it goes to you don't redeem it, it goes to the base of Mikdash and it stays in and. So if somebody didn't redeem it by the time he gave it to Hegdish, didn't redeem it, comes Yavel, he gets distributed amongst all and so what happened? The Gabbai sold it to somebody else. That somebody else has to return it on Yavel, and then he gets distributed amongst all the Kohanim. But who gets it? Which Kohanim? Only, and this is unbelievable, once in 50 years, those Kohanim, that first week of Yavel, they get to keep all these things there. It's unbelievable. It's mamish. They'll become very wealthy. What happens if I feel that the din is that should go be distributed amongst all the kohenim yavel? The goal of the kohenim, one of the kohenim, instead of a friend buying it, one of the kohenim bought it year 47. So comes the year 50, he says, "Look, it's supposed to go to all the kohenim. I'm already a kohen. I already have it. Let's stay with me." Since he gets distributed amongst kohenim yavel, I already have it. Take it mine. The dinu, and it makes sense. A friend, the guy's field comes Yavel, and I'm that group. I get it. I already have it. Shouldn't I get it? Because they are chedim like koyin tia. Only something that you got from your own Yerusha, something your own. you get to stay maintain after Yovel. But something that it was not yours, and the din should normally be that should be the Kainim, you're the same. How do we do that? Comes Yovel, we take away and give all the Kainim. The same thing with the Gzela. So we learn from Gzela that if you're the Gazan and you comes and you have to give it to the Kainim, you can't make the whole cheshbon. We learned the Gzela Shava from